one day I was doing a mastermind. They asked me to share about the biggest business growth tip I had for the year. And I said, it was this year that I realized that my business is an extension of my spiritual practice. How could I go wrong? My business is an extension of what I'm here to do.
Hi, this is JP Newman on Investing on Purpose, and today I have Tristan Truscott on for a second time, my sensei, my coach, one of my closest friends. And I know that so many of you have asked me about, okay, I've done a lot of work on my why. I know the purpose of what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm trying to figure out how to infuse it more and more in my business, but I feel a little stuck. Well, this episode is for you. We are going to get really specific, literally how to get into your physiology. Step one, through your breath, through Qigong. You're going to love this one. To literally get your brain into the mindset so that you can take what you want, what you desire, and really incorporate it deeper and deeper within you. Sounds woo-woo, but watch. And Tristan's an absolute master. I don't know anyone in the world who does it better than Tristan. And I think you're just going to enjoy this episode. There's a trick. Literally, this is going to take you 4 minutes in the morning, maybe 12 minutes max, depending how much time you have, and it will transform your life. It's totally transformed mine. Hope you enjoy the episode. Hi, this is JP Newman on Investing on Purpose, and today I have back, your first person I've had back is Tristan Truscott. Wow, you guys are in for quite a show today. Tristan had to come back because after all these episodes, being in season 3, I think we've gotten it really clear that the purpose for successful business, which means you've made good money, you made good currency, but you've also had fun, you've had service, and you're in line and you're actually enjoying what you're doing, is really an alignment of mind, body, spirit, right? I mean, it sounds like woo-woo, but if you actually live in our worlds, Tristan, how many people have you seen, and I'm sure you guys have too, who have money and they don't have happiness, and they wait. When they get to X, they will be happy. And you and I both know that doesn't happen. It is a lot of work. It is a huge practice to make sure to understand what money is and what money is not. And you and I talk about that a lot, right?
I grew up in Malibu, California, where there's a lot of money and a lot of misery. And at one point I was like, I don't want anything to do with money. I'm going to be a minimalist.
Yeah.
You know, but then I decided I don't want to do that.
Well, you think about it. Some people say money is the root of all evil. People just go to such extremes. And I can promise you, scarcity of money is not fun. To not be able to pay your meals and not to be able to pay your rent is not great. And a ton of money without purpose or vision is really depressing and anxiety provoking and creates some really strange humans. I saw one yesterday, which I was telling you about offline. $13 million and not healthy. Tristan, we had such a great time, and it was such a gift having a couple of days with you in Utah. I know you're busy. You are a man on the move, and to get 3 days with you in quiet in the mountains up in Powder Mountain, Utah, where we just got to hang out together, was just incredible. And it's funny, like sometimes you think, like I thought, oh, cool, hang out with Tristan, you know, just two friends hanging out. But it was such a profound time for me because I think that this podcast, Investing on Purpose, my business, Thrive FP, the nonprofit, are all these ways of like, how does money, energy, consciousness, how does it all really come together? Because I've seen so many people suffer. I've seen so many people trying so hard. It's almost like they're trying so hard to make money, and it doesn't have to be that hard. But if you don't know the rules of what money is and what money isn't, if you don't know the rules, then you can't play. So part of like what I want to serve is with this podcast and with how I do business in my community is hoping to like wake people up with education, literacy, and wisdom so that they really can see that money is just like your health is energy, just so that they can see that money can flow without much resistance. I'm not talking about everybody being $80 billion. I'm talking about whatever that means to you. Wealth. I love what Justin Donald's our mutual friend, and on my podcast a couple of weeks ago, he said, I knew I was wealthy when I made my first 300,000 because it was a mindset. And I think so many people are chasing a number versus a mindset. And you actually in Utah, you looked at me and you said, I've been listening to your phone calls. I see what you do, JP. And do you remember what you said to me?
Well, we were actually in the jacuzzi and we had just done some Qigong,
Yes.
right? And we were doing our moves and I was explaining things to JP about how energy flows through the body. And then it shifted to talking about my business and how things work in certain financial sectors. And I'm listening to this guy just geek out on how money flows and how things fit together. I'm like, it's so much like Qigong.
Yeah.
You're like the money mystic.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
named him the money mystic because you see money through a different lens. And if I could just add that this is how I see money. So my people come to me because they want more energy. They want more life force. Now, life force isn't something that's just in a bucket. Life force is inside us. It gets trapped and it's all around us. Same thing with money. Money gets locked up in places and money's flowing all around us.
Yeah.
Rather than the way I grew up as a kid, getting my $20 for working and all that, like we made a very nice, healthy income last year. I don't know that I saw any of that in my hands.
Right.
It was energy that flowed through financial institutions and flew through my life like chi.
Yeah.
I never touched it. It's in the ether. Money is everywhere. It's energy. It's currency.
It is.
And you figured out how to shape it and play with it.
Yeah. And by the way, it's still a work in progress, Tristan. I really appreciate that. But there was something about saying money mystic for me that felt really right on because I
You're
demystifying what money is and what it's not, right? And even like just today, I had a good friend come over today, and he's looking to buy a house, and we were talking about, he's like, can you just help me like figure out, my situation? It took him almost a year to come to me because he was almost like, he didn't want to, like, what if it's really bad? It's like going to a doctor. Like, what if it's bad news? What if I've done a horrible job? And like so many things about like the pain of having to like not know and hold back and suffer and not buy certain things that you're really entitled to because you can afford it because you don't want to look, or having a vanity, I want to be worth $5 million, but not knowing why you even want to do it. There's a lot of pain and wasted energy in that. Just like when you're talking about the energy of people, like anxiety, it's a human emotion, but if you overdo it, it's a lot of energy. And obviously, if you could help someone who's in a lot of anxiety get out of a lot of anxiety and get more into a peaceful, grounded state, it's a much preferred state. And I think that just the way you want to serve people with energy and really regulating their energy so they can manifest their highest selves, the money mystic wants to do the same thing with currency.
You're doing it like feng shui. You're helping people show how money can flow in certain ways.
Yeah.
Just like a money doctor. Like if you don't know where it's blocked, or you're making a wrong choice, or you have a leaky life force bucket, you have a leaky bucket. But we need masterful teachers who understand how money flows, how money works, and demystifying all the confusion around.
And I always say I'm not a financial planner. This isn't like I'm not going to sit here and give you a box like all the financial planners who have hit me up with a box, because it's all in the head. So financial planners are doing their job. Diversified portfolio of stocks. How many times have you heard? You were just telling me off camera, like you did an investment, you knew in your gut not to do it, but you overrode it with your rationale. And how many people, including myself, have done that in business? Some of my worst decisions I've done, I knew ahead of time not to do them, but like the Excel spreadsheet or someone in the room, logic.
Look good on paper.
Good on paper.
Yeah.
And so what's so cool about today too is this idea. And I think what's hopefully unique about the Money Mystic, investing on purpose and Thrive, quite frankly, is I really want to help people not just understand the difference of what money is, what money isn't, but show them. And that's why I brought you on today, to show them that money is three-dimensional. It's not in the mind. It's not a goal. It's not a piece of paper. It's energy. And energy, it's a three-dimensional energy that if you know the rules of it, you don't have to fight it. And if you flow with it, that means you get to go to sleep peacefully, wake up happy, and actually do what you're doing right now, your God-given talent, you're manifesting. You get to go out to lots of people and serve them so they can be happy. Ironically, we're both
the same thing.
It's the same thing that you and I are doing. It's just doing it in different arenas, but it's the same thing of helping people and serving people that way. And that's ultimately what I'm looking for the show.
And you're teaching others to become their own money mystic so that we are self-autonomous. We know what to do. We understand how it works.
Right.
Such a beautiful gift to offer these podcasts and help people dial into this, because I didn't have this training as a kid.
Gosh, who does? I didn't.
I was so scared of money. I was always chasing money. It was a pie, and there's only so much to go around.
Right. And when you chase money, what happens?
Runs.
It runs. It runs the other way. So, Tristan, what I wanted to do is I'm calling this our action episode. This is an action episode. It's a conversation, but I think for all you, like what you can expect from this show today is I feel like so many people in my 20s gave me ideas. And you guys are listening to these podcasts about how to do goals, how to goal set, how to maintain things. And I found kind of like going to the gym without really a true motivation to do it. Most people go by January. I think the health clubs say there's like a dropout of some crazy rate by February. And I think that for a lot of people, like this idea, can I really be that? JP, come on. I'm watching your show. I see all these great CEOs and these people have done it. They seem really happy. Is that even possible? Can you really be happily married for 20 years? Can you really have a great relationship with your family? Can you really hold presence? Can you really hold a community? Can you really be humble and mean it? Can you be a servant leader, really, like without your ego and not just doing it to like show other people who you are? Like, can you get rid of all that and then still enjoy abundance at the same time? And as you know, Tristan, you really helped me on that path of clarity and really took me to the next place, from a dark place to a a vision. And from that vision and a roadmap, I got to build. And to be honest, my life is better than those original expectations that we vision boarded together for that 2 years we were working together. This is better than the vision board. So I want to share you. You are a resource. And if I can, before I have you jump in, in my 20s, I was a big Tony Robbins guy. And I love Tony Robbins. I still think he's a great human being. But I think a lot of us, we don't understand that if you have a goal, but the goal is not rooted with a deep, deep yearning of a why you want that goal. It could be, I want a girlfriend, I want money, I want to lose weight, I want my health. We all have, we have like, I think you call it the 10 buckets or the 12 buckets on your Satori circle.
The grade 8, yeah.
It's the grade 8. What are the 8? What are the 8 buckets in life? What are they?
Well, number 1 is going to be your family. Well, maybe not in this order. Everybody's different, but family, of course, and parenting. And then I look at environments such as home, office, where we spend a lot of time. So these are all things that are outside of yourself. They're extensions of you. Then, of course, you have your partnership, your intimacy, that deep bond connection. You have your friendships, so your community. You have your own personal adventure, and the things that you're doing to expand yourself. You have your contribution in charity, you have your business vocation, and you have your investments. Those are the grade 8. Now, we won't exclude the others, which is your physical health and your mind, but those are in a different place.
And I spent a lot of my 20s and even I'd say early 30s chasing those grade 8 and not having great success. And I read so many books. I'm sure like a lot of you out there, you listen to a lot of podcasts. You go to these conferences, you hear all these influencers, and I think everyone means well. I don't think it's like nefarious, but unless you give me the action items to actually succeed, then I don't know what to do with it. So today, at the end of this show, I believe you will walk away with action items, with a map of what you can start to get to that same spot, because ultimately we all want the same thing in life. We want to have peace. We want to feel loved and we want to be loved. And of course, a lot of you, if you're watching this podcast, you're probably an entrepreneur or motivated for financial freedom. So why not throw all that together in one juicy mix, right? So what I found, what was different, Tristan, and I still to this day, because I know, we still work together in your mastermind, which is incredible, Sensei. And I still think your Satori Method is a really, really unique way of attacking the big 8 of life and having a roadmap, because you have to go so deep into each one, into not only why you're doing it, but how to do it, how to actually generate the energy, what step by step by step. And I know you just made this up through the years through trial and error. There was no book. You just figured it out. And so I'd love to share with the audience today a step-by-step process of how you figured it out, because you've achieved it. I mean, you've achieved it. It's incredible. You just said to me off camera, I've done, it's like, I'm good. I am good. And
I'm very happy.
And my experience of you all the time, Tristan, is you're good all the time. It doesn't fluctuate. Not that you're not a human, you don't have your days. Like I have my days, but you are vibrating at a very high level that most people, like I still look up to. I'm still learning from you about how to continue that energy, the positivity, the love, the success, the manifestation, the ease, the grace, and the way you attack all 8, like whether it's going to the gym, it's your passionate love for your wife of 15 years or 16 now.
Married for 15.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So Before we jump right into like step by step, how did you come up with this? Like, tell me more about what the Satori Method is and how you came up with it, and then we can jump into the action steps. Hey, I hope you're enjoying the show. And if you are, just know a lot of this content comes from my day job at thrivefp.com that underwrites this entire show. If you're interested in learning more about purpose-driven investment opportunities where success and sustainability and purpose come together, check out thrivefp.com. Now back to the show.
Okay, we'll do the 411. My life was a mess. I was looking for a method to the madness. I loved, as a martial artist, creating these brain maps for all the techniques that I knew. So mind mapping, basically you put one common denominator in the center, and then all the things related to that, you do little bubbles and you connect them back. And that's how I built my curriculum. So whether it was jiu-jitsu or it was aikido or karate, the different things I was doing, I was building a model. And I also was looking very closely at Bruce Lee's model. He had a 4-part quadrant. You need to know how to punch, you need to know how to kick, you need to know what to do in close quarters called trapping, and you need to know what to do on the ground, grappling. So I was looking at these two models, which was one was this kind of a map with, you can imagine 10 bubbles all around a core Y. And in the center, I just put my name, Tristan, and this is the expansion of my life. And I started going through, what are all the parts of my life that I'm not looking at? Okay, so of course, business. I wanted to become a black belt in business. And I was looking at relationships. That was going kind of sideways at the time. Family, I was kind of disconnected from my mom and my dad for a while. And I just started piecing together all the things I think most of us feel are very important to us. And then I started scoring them. I gave myself, like, on a scale from 1 to 10, how am I doing in these areas? And I was like, it's kind of messed up, but at least I could now see visually what was going on. And I noticed that I started putting red circles a lot around my physical bubble. It was so important for me to take care of my body because I'd had back pain for a long time.
Really bad back pain, of
Really,
course.
5 years,
Serious.
crippling pain. That's what was birthing this method. I had a healing experience using energy arts, Qigong, an internal martial art. And this was helping me create this map. It was based off this symbol called the yin and the yang. And we probably don't have time to go deep into that, but suffice to say that this wheel, this balance wheel, was forming. And I would circle the physical a lot because I knew that whenever I took care of my body, I always felt better. And if I was negating my body, my mind was off. So that became important. And then I had spiritual as one of the circles. But the problem for me over time was, as I was studying deeper into these energy arts, is everything comes from spirit. Everything comes from source. Everything is energy. And it's like, why did I write my name in the center and put spirit outside myself? And so I was like, one day had the moment, Satori, which is an awakening. I am soul.
Means awakening in Chinese, right?
It's in Japanese.
Japanese, I'm sorry.
It's a sudden moment of awareness, of awakening, of enlightenment, of true understanding. And I was like, I can't have spirit as one of 10. It's got to be sucked into the center. So I pulled spirit in and I started to identify myself as that. And I think that's a beautiful journey that many people are on, right? We hear people saying now more than ever, spirit guided me, spirit told me. And I think we all want to connect to that divine, however you articulate that, God, love, etc. But there was one other thing that I noticed in the circle was I sucked the spirit into the center, and I was like, I got to protect that spirit with my physical training, and I pulled the mental training in. And I started to see this construct where I actually realized that within my body, I have a mind, I have a physical body, and I have a soul. And a lot of times for me, I just go to the heart. I put my hands on my heart right now if you're listening. And then I was studying Qigong, and they talk about these 3 energy centers. The lower center is called the power center. There's the heart center, and up here is the wisdom center. And in the center of my map, I realized I've got to be in the center of my life. I can't put pieces of me outside. And all of a sudden, things started to become more clear. And then over time, I was shown a sequencing of how to keep my mind and body connected. I call it body-mind aligned. And so we're going to talk more about the energy engine in the center of your map today. But what was left out there, they're all extensions of my healthy, masterful connection to energy. The Great 8, the 1Y, and the Core 4.
That's just incredible. I mean, and if we can start, I mean, I know you always say it. I remember having my days in the dojo with you where I had a rough day. And the first thing we do is we'd spend an hour on the mats.
Right.
It's awaken the body. I mean, isn't the S is the
Stimulate and strengthen the physical body first.
first thing you do is you always say, I think it's in and through the body, correct?
Always through the body, 100%. Because think about it, we're getting sucked into the external world all day long. We're ending up in that 3D matrix mind. And so we get so in our head sometimes. We get anxious. We get, panic attacks. Stress, all these worries and cares and concerns. We got to get out of our head and back in our body. That's why breath work is so popular right now.
Yeah.
It pulls you back in your physical body. That's why I love Qigong and breath work. So we start with the S and we get back in our body. And your body holds memories. So your mind's not just in your brain, your mind's in your body as well. So think about this. Like if you're having thoughts all day long, for every thought, you have a corresponding feeling.
Yeah.
And feelings live in the body.
Yeah.
Right? They get into the tissues. For every thought you have a neural peptide release, goes down, attaches on receptor sites in cells and pumps you full of a feeling. We get chemically addicted to thoughts. So if all these feelings, if there's negative feelings and negative mind trapped in your body and you're doing personal development, we've talked about this and we're setting goals, but then we keep getting sucked back into these old ways, these old habits, that saboteur keeps showing up.
Yeah.
What the is going on? It's because you got issues in the tissues. So the S isn't just going to the gym and working out and getting strong. It's stimulating and opening the body and clearing that stuff out.
Yeah. I can say I'm really grateful for this audience, and I've had a lot of people reach out to me, and I am amazed that a lot of us get really stuck in our head. It's like there's almost like this bridge between, we have ideas. It's almost like we sell ourselves on our story. We have a story of who we are, where we're going, here's the journey. And we're so stuck on the story that we're living in the story of it. And so what you're talking about right now is like, how do you disrupt that? How do you waken it up, the kind of alive in it, so there's openness for something more than just the story that we're living with every day and the story I'm about to tell you, and I got to go sell this, and then I'm going to go make this sale, and then I'm going to talk to this guy, and then if he comes through, then my product's going to grow. And it's all very robotic, and it's not very expansive or satisfying from my experience.
Well, I love that with this episode, you and I both started with all these cool S techniques.
Oh, we did, man.
And we're going to share the love, right?
Let's do it.
Are we going to share the love?
Let's share the love, man.
So you guys are going to get to watch and do these techniques that are going to help stimulate your body and get those negative vibrations out of your system.
I mean, you're talking 10, 15 minutes a day. We're not talking hours upon hours, 10 or 15 minutes to quickly just get right back and hack into your body. That alone, worth the price of admission.
That's why I put that in the center of my map. I have to protect my core why. You talk about the core why, right? A lot. Like, it's so important, right? So who's driving the freaking boat? Who's driving your life? If you're not connected to that and protecting that, your body and your mind's going to pull you off. How many times does it happen? I'm like, how'd I get over here? I call it being stuck in the brambles. How'd I get off the path? All right, well, I got to get my shit back to the path. So I use the body.
Tristan, real quick, I don't want to get too far on a tangent. What's your why?
In simple terms, my why, very simple, it sounds a little woo, is to be love and serve love. Breathe in, breathe out. That's my simple. My little more woo is the purpose of my life is to fully awaken to this vibration of unconditional love. And I take it a little further each and every day. I want to shape that love into vibrant health, conscious wealth, beautiful relationships, and the spiritual wisdom that keeps me on my path of service.
And of course, your path of service is just getting bigger and bigger as your entire method continues to grow. Your audience grows. You're exponentially growing the company, you and Sabrina. It doesn't surprise me. You're getting world-class talent now coming to you, asking to work with you. And again, it doesn't surprise me because I know what you're doing is very unique and very special and does not exist. We're
getting results.
Yeah.
We're getting results.
But interesting, like look how you're wide. Do you notice how I kind of slid that right to what you're doing to make money?
Yes.
And it goes right back to your why.
It's anchored.
It's anchored.
It's 100% anchored. All the other stuff in that grade 8 is a manifestation of the why. Everything. Like one day I was doing a mastermind. They asked me to share about the biggest business growth tip I had for the year. I said, it was this year that I realized that my business is an extension of my spiritual practice. How could I go wrong? My business is an extension of what I'm here to do.
I get that.
I'm golden.
This podcast is an extension of my spiritual thing. Okay, Tristan, I've done the 15 minutes. I've tapped. I'm feeling some energy moving. What do I do next?
You got to get out of the top level thinking brain, the beta brain waves, and we got to drop into alpha. So I think anybody that's done any personal development knows how important it is to get into your alpha brain. It's where the creative door opens up. It's where we get all the insights. It's the brain state we're in when we're waking up in the morning, when we're falling asleep.
Meditation, breathwork, all these things that just knock us out and get us right to alpha.
Get us back into that
sprint.
Boom. And then we drop in and the nervous system shifts. It regulates back to parasympathetic. And now you start to get insights. You get clarity. And that's, true meditation, you and I met many moons ago doing meditation, is no thinking. but a lot of meditations are thinking. So we want to go past that. That's in the samurai tradition, is known as mushin. It's no mind. But it's basically you're quieting the prefrontal cortex. It's called transient hypofrontality. You're turning off the executive decision-making brain, and you're opening that door, and you're going deeper inside yourself. Now you're getting access to another dimension of clarity and wisdom that lies within. So that's where we go into the A, and we start pulling our movements very slow. We start moving the energy, the life force, the chi through the body. And anybody who studied yoga knows that the propensity of energy is to rise from the root up to the top into the brain. And that's what you want. You want that energy to rise. And as that energy rises, so do your thoughts. They become more aligned, crystallized clarity, and you start to become this very wise, beautiful person making incredible. So we go there next.
And notice, it's important because I still don't think after 35 years of just sitting and just doing sitting meditation, and I'm not great. Maybe after Joe Dispenza, I'll be great at this, but I don't sit for 2 hours at a time.
Who has 2 hours?
Right, that's my point. And I know that's the way I was raised. Like, oh, you're supposed to meditate for hours upon hours to get to that spot. What I find through Qigong and some of the breath work and what have you is there really are hacks to get there to that parasympathetic state much quicker.
Thank you. And so that's that next step. So we're going S to A. We're going in that alpha brain, and we're activating that internal energy via breath work, via internal Qigong. There's certain movements that pull the Qi up. And now you're tapping in. You're going to T. This is usually where I like to sit, and I just like to be. And then there's certain questions that after I've been in sitting meditation that I'll ask myself, very Socratic, that start to feed the mind. So a Satori I consider an upload. So when you're sitting in your stillness and you're present, you get this upload. So the heart actually has the ability to teach the mind. The heart actually perceives information before the brain does. There's I call it the brain of your being. There's knowingness inside, and that starts to feed up. And that's where you get these creative hits. You're like, how do I know this?
I know.
It's baked in.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what gets us to T. Now we own our mind. So now the goal setting comes. But look at the difference. You didn't come from the matrix mind and creating a goal that's not aligned to soul. You're tapped into soul, and now you know why you're here and what you're supposed to be doing. You might have to do some questions to get there, and you might have to do some tapping and bouncing and squeezing and shaking and flowing for a little bit. But if you're patient and disciplined and you work the craft, you will get there. You'll get so freaking clear, and there'll be nobody that can tell you different, because there's so many people tell you what to do, and everyone's got an agenda for everybody else. But when you're aligned and you know, there's no more doubt. There's no more uncertainty. There's absolute clarity. And it doesn't mean that you're not coachable and you can't still receive guidance and learn from others who have worked the craft more than you, but you know whether or not that's a good fit for you. And you call the right teachers and mentors.
Yeah. I also, these days, by the way, cold plunge, which has gotten so popular. Right now I'm cold plunging in my pool because my pool's 43. For me, it's funny because I actually am a very physical, like I feel things. Cold water for 3 to 5 minutes it actually gets me right to the parasympathetic. Breathe, and I can just sit and meditate now for 10 or 15 minutes, and I can quickly get to that spot that you're talking about, which took me years of not being able to do it.
Look at the sequence you're talking about. So you went into S because you're stimulating your body, and you're not in para in the beginning. You're in sympathetic. Your body's going, what are you doing?
Right.
And then through regulation of your nervous system, you got to A.
Yeah.
And now you're in flow state.
Yeah. And I can just sit there. And sometimes I can just sit there for 10 or 15 minutes, and those downloads come. I can just go right to it, but that's taken years of a practice to do. But gosh,
you do it through your body.
I do. It's through the body. And then you can meditate for 50, and you get to the point where it doesn't take long meditations to get to that grounded, quiet place. And then I find that wisdom's with me all day. It's not like that wisdom's just not on the pillow for 15 minutes. You take that energy and that presence and that groundedness and that intuition, and it's with you all day when you're making decisions, when you're interacting with employees. The words that come out of your mouth, the energy, it's just a different energy. It's a much more grounded spot.
You're in your highest potential. That's why it's hard for some people just to sit to meditate first. They need to go through their body.
Yeah.
And then those meditations are very profound.
Yeah. Okay, so Tristan, so I've meditated. This is like great because I know your routine. You wake up in the morning. I think you kind of.
So if you look at the map closely, if you guys are seeing a visual of this, right in the very center, that's like your still point. That's where you're like on your game, the why that makes you cry. But then, nobody's like, we wake up in the morning, you have a moment to connect to that. But then you go up into the S. So you're moving your body, maybe doing cold plunge, or you're doing a hot shower, or you're doing some Qigong, or maybe you're doing your elliptical, your Peloton, whatever. And then you're dropping into your A, and you're doing that breathing, and you're slowing the nervous system down, and now you're tapping into stillness. Now you're ready to create your day. Now we go from T to O.
Tell me more about that.
It's just owning your mind and owning your schedule, not scrubbing through your phone early in the morning, getting sucked into somebody else's agenda for you.
Or news, other people's news. They're telling you
Right.
someone else's narrative of what's happening in the world versus your narrative.
So you open up your journal or whatever it is that you do, the things that you decided that were right for you when you were in state, because that's the place to write your goals, not when you're up in your worried mind. Don't do that. Do your goals and do your intentions and write your core values and all that type of work when you're in state, because that's more aligned to who you are and what you really love. Then follow those. You have an inner teacher. Open the book. This is what your inner guidance told you. Do that.
Which is what when I talk about the Starbucks exercise, which you guys have heard me mention several times. Go to a Starbucks and just start writing where you want your life to be in 3 years from now, and with no holds barred, and start getting your mind to be the creative mind to tell you what it really wants. Like it's really working the muscle of intuition. It's working a muscle of intuition. That's actually what the Starbucks exercise is, and that's where it flows in. When you're in state, and your mind and your muscles have had a chance to really like develop your intuition and your creativity, the power of that navigation not only helps you make some great decisions in business, but again, your outcomes, they're aligned with what you actually want. So I find you have better financial 100%. Outcomes and better emotional outcomes as well.
We used to train in the dojo, kick the crap out of each other, and then you and I would do coaching. Yeah. And we would go right into that because we did the body work first. We finished class in meditation. Everybody left. You and I would have our coaching sessions, and we'd break out that book, your mastery manual. And so we need to ask the right questions. What lights me up? What do I really want? Why do I want it? Who wants it? Right? And then you got to sit with that. Yeah. Who wants it? And you got to sit with that, and you got to let that come through you. And if you don't have a coach with you, listen to here. I believe that there's a mentor in here. But you got to ask the questions and let it come out, and then get it on paper, because when you're in that state of consciousness, you have to capture your consciousness, because when you're back in your 3D brain, there's all this, I call it thought smog. There's this mass consciousness that we get sucked back into, and we're not in our highest state consciousness. So we have to capture it while we're in it. And now it's gold. And what you wrote in your book you guys know what breadcrumbs are? It's like how Hansel and Gretel, they found their way back to the house. You have to have breadcrumbs that lead you back to that. And your book is your mastery of what you really want. And you live by that, but it's anchored to the mission.
Yeah. Yeah, and to this day, Tristan, for me, it's still a daily practice, and sometimes I miss it, or my brain will. And so actually, one of my commitments to you, and I've asked you to be my accountability partner this year as part of Sensei, our mastermind training, is really to even go deeper, to even get deeper in my own mastery, because I know that morning routine sets your whole day. Because that is the S, the A, and that is the S, the A, and the T all together. Without that, if you're going to your phone first, or if you're scrolling or watching someone else's news, you're basically just a slave to the day. You're just going to be whipped around by the emails, and you're just reacting to everything. And that's not where you're going to get to the ultimate purpose.
Point of mastery. And there's so much incredible energy and capacity and potential inside each one of us, and we know that. And it's so frustrating when you know there's more here. What am I missing? You're missing a method. I think everybody needs to say, like, I grew up in martial arts, so my sensei gave me a path to mastery. It was from white belt to black belt, and I trusted the system. You got to find your own method. Find something that you know is tried and true and actually works. You're proof of the pudding of the method. You have absolutely blown me away as to what was possible. I had no idea you were going to do what you did. It's amazing. So I'm following. You're my inspiration back.
It's great,
right? And that's how we brother up.
That's how we brother up. That's great. I remember, when I work out, because I really don't like working out. Like if I could just take a pill and have buff muscles and be healthy, I would take the red pill. But one of the things and this was years ago with you, was the vision and the connection to me was a healthy body. I get to love my children. I get to, when I think about skiing with my children, which is one of my favorite things, or mountain biking with my boys, which is one of my favorite things to do, I only get to do that if I have a healthy body. So if I'm lifting those weights, even if I get bored lifting weights, which I can, I remember my why, which is really to keep this body healthy. I always say I want to be a rad dad at 80. I want health span, right? Not lifespan. I want health span. And I have health span, I got to lift those weights. And it makes those days that, when I don't feel like doing it, it still puts me in state to do it, because I know my why I'm doing it. It really is this idea of rad dad, because some of my most pleasurable moments are through my body. It's pickleball, it's wake surfing, it's skiing, it's mountain biking, and that's my way of keeping that up.
I love hearing this because you got clear on the why, and you also see. The brain needs to see a target.
Yeah.
If you can't see it, you can't be it. So you've got to be able to have visualization processes, and then ask yourself, when you look at those things, how does that make me feel? Because it feels good, then that means that your desire is turned on. So I think desire is energy that flows through us, and I look at desire in two ways. I look at the lower part of the energy system as me. This in Qigong, this lower dantian, I'm pointing to my belly right now, is the relationship with yourself. And as young men, we all have this core drive. We want to build our business. We want to, explore the world. We want to adventure. We want to be those warriors and those knights, right? And so that's relationship with me. And that's so beautiful. You need to have it. But if you get trapped there, it can become self-oriented. You want that energy to rise to this area, which I now have my hands on my heart center. And this is the relationship with others. So it moves from me to we, but you get both. So you and I both like that if we look healthy, that feels good. If we are healthy, we get to live a long life and experience this beautiful relationships with our family and friends. So that's desire inside your body. So when you look at your visualizations and your visions, they should light you up. They shouldn't be coming from the outside like what mom or dad or somebody else told you should want. It really has to be aligned to your desire.
It does.
And to be connected. So I look at it like this. You go from me to we, and now you can see, because that energy will rise and you'll get clarity, you'll get insight, you'll get vision. And then you have to send it. You intend it and send it. So you got to put it out there. And that's you just sending your energy. You got to set it free and bring it right back.
I love it. Love it. Tristan, if it's okay with you, I'd like to share the mind map. Are you open? I know it's something you don't usually share. Would you share the mind map with my audience if they want to look at the Satori Method mind map? Is that something we can post
sure.
or share?
What we can do is we'll give you guys it's the map, and it's a scoring system. So what you do is you go through each of the circles on the map, and on a scale from 1 to 10, and you and I did this, and this is a check-in. You can do this every 30 days. You get your energy score to know if what you're doing is working or not.
Yeah.
So what you do, 10 is I'm a rad dad in this area.
I'm a rad dad.
I'm a rad business owner, and so 5 is like right in the middle. All you do when you check in is just go, how does it make me feel? Does my energy go up in this area? Is my energy going down? And don't think too much about it. Subjective. Just give it a number. Then go into the center of the map. Ask, how am I doing with my physical body? If you don't know much about energy body, we'll teach you more. Get into your energy body. Get into your conscious mind, your subconscious, and the why that makes you cry. Get your score. Do it every 30 days. And if it doesn't go up, then do more of the energy work. Do the energy engine in the center. All the things JP's talking about. Stimulate your physical body. Activate it. Tap in. And as that, I look at it like this. When your energy rises, all the areas that you're going to see in the map are like boats, and all the boats rise.
The boats rise with the physical energy.
With a rising tide.
Yeah.
So as your energy goes up, your life goes up.
Yeah, makes sense. If somebody wants to go deeper into this, Tristan, I really appreciate you sharing this. If somebody wants to go really deeper and really understand this and wants to take it to the next level, work the craft, what would they do?
Well, we can share my website link, and we can also give them a free energy training. So
that'd be amazing. You'd be willing to do that?
Of course.
That's amazing.
What? Be love, serve love. Let's go.
I love it. Well, guys, I hope this episode, I don't know, I'm ready just to go. I've heard it so many times, and yet it's always a reminder of what's important to me. So I really appreciate it. And I'm just grateful for you taking your time to be here. I hope everyone in the audience got something really valuable from this. I promise you, pay attention. This will change your life. It absolutely changed my life beyond what I ever imagined it could be. So this is the stuff, guys. I mean, we can do 100 episodes. You can do 500 episodes. You can read another 50 books, or you could just do the work. And this is the work, and it's fun. It's fun. And you know what? I can't think of any other game that I'd rather play.
It's beautiful to see your life visually in front of you and be able to tweak, because it doesn't lie. If you're honest with yourself and you look at your life, and when I have this map, I imagine that I'm in the center of the map. And so you are the map. This is just an extension of who you are and how your life is. You're showing up in your life. So be the map. You are the map. It works.
You live it. I watch you every day. We've been doing this gig together for over 30 years.
We got a lot of people who are loving this training. I mean, we just had 11,000 people show up for an online virtual event.
Yeah.
They registered because they want to learn this stuff.
Yeah.
So
It'll be 100,000 soon.
here they come. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Hey, I hope you enjoy that. And I know it's hard, but if you actually take the discipline to take those 10, 15 minutes a day, do your morning routine, whether it's Qigong the way Tristan and I were doing it, or if you have another routine, if you can just get yourself into that head, heart resonance, it is amazing the power of the purpose coming together with the how and the why. And once that's together, boy, do things get juicy and fun. I can tell you from my own experience. So good luck, carry on. And by the way, if you want to know more, please check out my new newsletter, the Thriving Investor Newsletter, jp-newman.com. All these things from new techniques to latest marketing advice. There's a lot of changes in the marketplace right now, and I see some great opportunities coming. So if you want to dive in deeper into my newsletter, check it out, and I'll see you in the next episode.